Hey, everybody. Today we're going to discuss lead quality over quantity, and keep watching because we're going to show you how real estate leads can be almost infinite. Let us show you the numbers and you'll see for yourself.
Hi, this is Real Estate with Elise and Jay.
And I'm Elise, and that's Jay. If you're a realtor, we would love to help you become the local expert in your area. Our contact information is in the description.
That's right. If you have any questions, please feel free to call, text, or email us. So what's the point of a real estate lead anyway? So let me start with this quick story to help set the stage, right? But one of my uncles owned a contracting company and it was like his side hustle. So he was actually an engine mechanic for the Air Force full time. And he had a younger brother, my other uncle, that worked for him with the contracting company. So my younger uncle, and in this particular case, we're talking about when they would do roofing job, he would go out on Friday mornings. He would strip down the roof, get the nails, the old shingles, everything off of it, get it prepped up and ready to go so that when the guys got off work, my uncle, my dad, and the crew got off of their day jobs, they would show up at the house and start re-roofing the house on Friday afternoon. And then they'd usually be done Saturday afternoon or Sunday morning. They'd finish up and it was good extra money for everybody. And that's just kind of the way it worked out. So one of these weekends, this was happening and my younger uncle shows up at Friday early in the morning. He starts stripping the roof, gets it all done. It's nice and clean, ready to go. And then my uncle, my dad, everybody show up to start cranking out the work after they get off their day jobs. And lo and behold, the roof is still in the house. They can't find my uncle anywhere. And when they do get a hold of him, it turns out, I don't remember the exact scenario, but he had stripped the roof at 461 such and such street. And the job site was actually 416 such and such street. So it was a huge snafu. And now we've got a house with people that weren't expecting to have their roof stripped off. And it was quite the ordeal. And we'll circle back to that. But ultimately, they had to put a new roof on that house. And then they still had their regular roof to do. So it really kind of threw things out of whack. But how that relates to our real estate careers, well, Lisa and I, we've done a lot of different lead generation systems and ideas and programs and all those different things that you can think of. We've done cold calling, direct mail, FISBOs, expireds, Facebook ads, online leads, Google, pay-per-click, pop buys, ISA appointment centers, worked with VAs, social media, video, newsletters. We've done homebuyer seminars, open houses. I mean, and on and on and on. Just if you've heard of it, we've probably done it. And we were always just kind of looking for that secret sauce on dialing in a good lead. And so what we discovered after all of that was that it's definitely about lead quality. It doesn't really matter how many leads you get. If you get a few good ones, that's great. And so several times in our career, we were able to generate hundreds of leads every month. And what we found was that the more leads we generated, the busier we got, but then our overall production would drop. And so we worked harder, but we made less money. And it was just a classic case of climbing to the top of the ladder only to find out that we put our ladder up against the wrong wall. And that's just exactly like what happened with my younger uncle in that story. He stripped the wrong house. And so at the end of the day, all that work on the wrong house, they all lost money because they had to roof two houses, one of them for free, which basically cost the money of the other one that they did and the time, energy, effort that they lost. So it's just a tough deal to get to the top of something and realize that it's just the wrong spot for you, right? So getting back to that general question that what is the point of a real estate lead anyway? So the point is simply to create a conversation about real estate and remember that whoever has the most conversations about real estate is going to win.
And how it generally goes in real estate, you generate leads, you make contact with that lead, you convert that contact into an appointment, aka now their prospect, and have a conversation with that prospect. Are they a buyer? Are they a seller? Are they looking to buy immediately? Are they looking to buy later? And also you follow up with that prospect with the right info until they become a client. Follow up, follow up, follow up. After the sale, you need to follow up long-term so you can receive referrals from them. You can be their go-to agent after a few years of them living in the home. That's our big thing. We love our relationships. We actually like to keep in contact with them. That's how we work, and it's fun for us.
It sure is. And it's also worth mentioning that the lifetime value of a client is somewhere around $50,000 by the time they send you referrals and repeat business and all that. So it's well worth it to take care of them and stay in touch with them. It's just really crazy to me that most agents don't do that. And so just from a more numbers perspective about the same things that Elise was just talking about, this is what it looks like for most realtors, right? So for every 100 leads that we get, 1 to 3 of them are going to be ready to go right now. So that's a 1 to 3% rate. And right now means within the next 90 days usually. So that means that the job of the real estate agent up to this point was, one, we had to generate leads. So we had to find a way to create 100 leads somehow, some way. Then we had to contact each of those leads, and we need to contact them until we get a hold of them and they respond so we can start some interaction interaction with them or until they tell us no. And generally, a quick layout in the first week, that would be something like call, voicemail, and text them and email them for the first 2-3 days of that week. And then the next week, call them and leave a voicemail on Monday. Maybe Tuesday, you text them, Wednesday, you email them, and repeat that the rest of the week to see if you can get a hold of them. And then that week 3, maybe text on Monday, email them on Thursday. And then by week 4, you're probably going to follow that same process, but you want to really get them into that long-term drip or nurture campaign, whatever it is that you're using. And if you need some tips on that, we definitely have some great follow-up campaigns that we do use. But by this time, you should have followed up with them 20, 25 times to really dig through there and find out who you can work with, who's ready to go now, and who's just kind of a tire kicker, right? So that gets us into the conversion process. And we're going to have set some appointments by contacting all those leads. And these appointments that we're going to have, they could be phone, it could be Zoom, it could be in person, but this is where we're having that conversation that we're talking about. And then from that conversation, we're going to be able to sort through them and know if they're a buyer, a seller, if they're ready to buy now, if they're ready to buy down the road. We kind of get an idea of what that picture looks like. So during this part of the process, you may or may not have found 1 to 3 buyers that are sellers that are ready right now, but you're definitely well on your way to success in the real estate business.
If you've done all of that, you're at the top of the class and you positioned yourself in front of 85% of the agents that never get to do that. So the next 2 phases are you follow up the prospects until they become clients and the long-term follow-up after the sale. And this tends to hurt out yet again. Only 5% of agents have systems in place for the last 2 phases. And this is the crazy part because the last 2 phases usually represent between 50 and 80% of annual income. This one's a little confusing, but this is what they say. 75% of all homes sold are done by 20% of the agent. And that means 80% of the agents are fighting over 25% of the home buyers and sellers that are still left available. So you can rewind that and do the numbers.
And so here's the rest of the story for Elisa and I. As we started working this way, we discovered that working with people that already know, like, and trust us, that was a game changer. And that really started making us think more and more about those long-term retention and follow-up plans.
Little examples of how our follow-up and the like and trust factors work. We have a friend of ours, Jay actually went to high school with her, but he hadn't talked to her in years, and we ran into her. Next thing you know, we told her we're in real estate. Yada, yada, yada. She now sends us 3 to 4 referrals a year. We actually just closed on her daughter's house. And we also have become great friends and we treasure her. Another treasure that we have, we actually met her at a real estate event. She's in title. We became buddies and I really didn't think that anything would happen, but she sent me her mother and we have become their family realtor. We have worked with her cousin and the mom's neighbor and a cousin's friend and so on and so on and so on. So keeping in touch, following up, being that go-to person for them has really, really helped us out. And we also have friends out of it.
That's exactly right. And that's the part that makes it more fun to do business this way because we're actually hanging out with friends. And we like to put those people in a group that we call our A-list, which is only about maybe 20, 25 people, 30 people. And we like to let them know how much we appreciate them and how much they're helping our business. So now imagine if you did that and you had like 5 or 10 people in your A-list, people that sent you 2-3 referrals a year. What would that do to your business? And the other question is, what do you think would be more valuable to your business? 20 referrals like this or 200 leads coming in every month? We definitely talk from experience and we usually get 60, 75 referral leads like this every year. And instead of doing a lot of busy work trying to follow up with hundreds of leads and only converting 1 to 3% of them, we have fun working with people that already know, like, and trust us, and we already know, like, and trust them. And we convert a whopping 35 to 50% of those leads. And if you're doing the math, that's like 10 times better than the average agent is doing. And it's for sure 100 times more fun and 1,000 times less stressful.
So one thing we do to build the know, like, trust factors, we send little gifts throughout the year. The more unexpected, the better. We randomly send them gifts throughout the year and they always appreciate it and they love to know that they're being thinken of. Actually, yesterday I got a text from a client of ours / old neighbor friend. She was looking for a housekeeper. So I asked our housekeeper if we could use her and she said yes. So I connected them, took some time out of my day to help her out. We also educate with questions they may not even know to ask yet, like what's going on with property taxes, their home values, maybe their interest rates have dropped enough since they purchased, they might make sense for them to refinance. Of course, not now, but maybe in a few years that could happen. Example, again, today, my sister called and I explained some tax information to her and she was very grateful. I'm pretty sure I'd be her go-to realtor, but what if I didn't answer her questions? What if I wasn't really that engaged? What if I wasn't helpful? Then who knows? They may say, oh, You want to meet them in person. New leads, even if it's months or years away, I usually like try to meet them in person for coffee, or even sometimes I'll meet them at a house, even though we know that house won't be available, just to meet them there. And I always explain to them that the house will not be there whenever they're ready. That's the main thing. And for past clients, we like to invite them to a lunch or dinner throughout the year. Keep in touch, call, text, whatever. But we always like to meet them in person, and using video. That's the next best thing to being in person.
And this is the big announcement that we wanted to make. And while we feel like real estate leads can be almost infinite, this is a big concept to grasp in your real estate career. But when you get this, you'll start to understand why lead quality is so important. Here's how to put it in perspective, right? Zillow got 60 million monthly visitors in 2022. Trulia got 21 monthly visitors. And if you just go through the list on and on, the top 10 real estate sites in the United States got over 160 million monthly visitors. So that's every month these leads are coming in. And that's just from the top 10 sites. So there's over 1 million real estate websites in the United States. And so imagine all the leads that are coming in from over 1 million sites, right? On the flip side of all this is that we only sell about 5 million homes a year in the United States. And that averages out to about 400,000 homes a month. And yeah, like this year, we'll probably sell closer to 4 million, 4.2, something like that. In 21 and 20, we were probably selling close to 6 million houses a year, but 5 million is a good middle average. So again, that's 400,000 homes a month. That means there's over 400 times more leads than there are homes sold every month. And that's why we say leads are almost infinite. And really the more important thing to recognize is that leads are really only like one small basic indicator of what's going on in your business. And I think the more important indicators are the conversations that we're having about real estate. So how many of those conversations are we having each week? And the other one is obviously closings, right? So how many closings are we having each week? And those two numbers will tie hand in hand and really give you a good outlook on what your business is doing and how it's working out.
Yeah. And if we can do it, you can do it. I promise. I'm all over the place sometimes in my day-to-day stuff, but this is a big key to your business. So get it done, and I promise you'll enjoy it. And if you would like to grow your real estate sales, build wealth, and have the life you dreamed of when you first got into real estate, we would love to help you get there. Again, our information is in the description.
Yes, we'd love to help you. So just call, text, or email us. And again, thanks for watching. And as we like to say,
Keep Boston weird
and keep San Antonio cool.